Probably one of the challenges is to, in general, promote the importance and the beauty of community-engaged teaching and learning.
Because of the time involved and the cost and the energy, a lot of my colleagues have walked away from these kinds of courses because they are so intensive. So finding people that really get the value of it and finding community members who want to make a long-term commitment to that is going to be an ongoing challenge.
Our work is being measured, and here you have this favorite word of so many, measured success. How do we measure success, right? Does work like that, does community-engaged work and oral history work, pursuits of the class, requiring so much time and so much effort, translate well into the entry line on my annual reports?
One of the big concerns was, is this a good use of my time and energy, given that I have to go for promotion and tenure? I still have a lot of classroom teaching, which I really like and need to do well. I have to publish research. There's a lot of challenges and things that we have to accomplish. And community-based research challenges that whole notion of saying, okay, now all of a sudden, my priorities as a community-engaged researcher are different than many of my colleagues.
I think community-engaged research reminds us that we are people too. We're not just robots struggling against the academic bean counting system, that we're actually people in flux as well as the communities that we're working with. And if we can work together to overcome those struggles, then that's a very strong moral goal to work to.
A lot of scientists, I think, need to respect and come into terms with the human side of doing research and be more human in their research. And I think just doing so opens up the door for relationships, and those relationships then can be leveraged for research opportunities and turned into positive community engagement.
I think the role of the university in the community is an open question that should be open when you arrive and should be defined in large part by the community.
That by doing more community engaged research, scholarship, in developing partnerships and helping support the community is in an active way, I think would help sort of also bring that community into the university and open up the doors for a lot of partnerships, but more importantly, open up the doors for a welcoming educational experience.
When the question comes to what's the role of the university in community engaged scholarship, part of that is creating the space for scholars from different disciplines to make the partnerships that they need that are specific to their discipline. So whether it's humanities, sciences, professional schools, social sciences, all of those are going to take a different type of partnership that answer different sorts of questions.
I think the university has to make the next generation of community engaged scholars. We have all this talent intellectually and with research skills, but without making an impact out there, I don't really think we're fulfilling our obligation to society. So the university should support community engaged scholars because they are a great role model for the up-and-coming generation.
Initially, when I started doing community engaged scholarship, it was primarily about graduate students, where you're taking a graduate student and they're designing a thesis or a dissertation, and so you're bringing them in and they're mentoring and they're building on your relationships and then designing their own that build from it. But that's almost too late. We need to start with undergraduate.
We have to train our students how to do this. We can talk about it in the classroom, and classroom learning is a fantastic way to learn about science and we can talk about engagement, but we can't have students going out into the real world and not have experience working with people on the land and their knowledge.
One of my main concerns as a human being is to create an opportunity for my students to experience difference, social difference, cultural difference. And it may not be written out in the course syllabus, it may not be written in the course description, but I realized over the course of teaching on our campus for some time that it's really something that drives me in my choices of projects.
We were able to do this project with a lot of collaboration on campus and working with people that we hadn't had the opportunity to work with before.
And as soon as you talk about what are the benefits of this to anyone, I think it makes your research relevant.
Students are learning things in new ways so that they're coming out with applied knowledge, but in addition to that, they're coming out with a new way of seeing things. They're trying to see things from the perspective of somebody else from a different community. Faculty for the same thing. We're getting in and we're learning things, and so the process is actually, if it's working, if we're doing community scholarship right, is actually making the world a better place.
I think community engagement is about sharing, not just sharing life stories and information, but sharing the weight of the burden of problems in the community and sharing and finding solutions to those problems that work.
My hope is at some point that the university plays a minimal, if non-existent role in some of these, where the community just takes it and they just run with it.
Our university is recognized as one of the leading forces in Canada, which does a great job on advancing this new perspective on community engagement. We should do more, but we're certainly not lagging behind.